Hello there! I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the Smallville Retrospective. We're on Season 3, Episode 5. Perry! I was not looking forward to this one because I've never cared for this episode. They introduced Perry White here, and it's one thing to introduce a Superman character before Superman exists. However, the way they handle this character never sat right with me. Like, he finds out about Clark's powers, and by the end of the episode, yes, you could say he doesn't really believe it, but I don't know. It's confusing because everything that you've seen through the episode, and then one little thing happens at the end. I don't know. The episode starts off with CGI footage of the sun and solar flares. It's revealed to be a news program saying there will be solar flares, which lead to Clark's powers spurting out of control. And I can't believe that this has never happened before. Because solar flares happen. It gets hot, all that stuff. But because the sun, the yellow sun gives Clark Kent his powers. That's when it has I just said the word. Solar flare. Then his powers spike. So strong, and towards the end of the episode, it's too weak. He's human, basically. I like the Pete's in this episode more than he was in the last few, like the last four. I think he has more screen time in this than than all four of the ones before this together. Yeah. In this episode, we meet Perry White, played by Michael McKean, the husband of Lynette O'Toole. And, well, he has a great performance. Like I said, I never liked this episode, particularly because of the fact that we're going to introduce Perry White as this reporter. Sure, have him meet Clark Kent beforehand and all this. You don't need to have him see Clark's powers. That's the one thing that always rubs me the wrong way about this episode. Everything else in this episode is done pretty well. I don't think he should have seen Clark's powers. Yes, he was drinking the first time, but there are clearly times when he is at least somewhat sober that he sees like super speed. A tractor lands in front of him at one point, and then Clark's super speed's right in front of it, which he knew that Perry White was still around. I don't know why he did that. And then their excuse to the sheriff, like, somebody stole our tractor, and I came after it, and it must have fallen off the truck bed. She believes this, and I wouldn't. Even Perry White's like, I'm telling you, fell out of the sky, Chief. And I love her reaction, like, don't call me Chief. I'm not a big fan of Sheriff Adams, but this was funny. Don't call me Chief. I'll call you Cab. There's a bus coming. About an hour. I suggest you be on it, which he's not. And he pesters Lana about what happened with the meteors and her parents' death, which is a low ball. Find out they used to be a big time reporter, and then things went south. They don't rightfully say anything, but we can put together that because he chased after a story for Lionel Luthor that discredited him. Now he works for X Face or whatever it's called. I don't really care. X-Force with Deadpool and Wolverine? No, X something. X-Shot. I don't know. But he goes for that, and the point he ends up like stalking the Kent farm. He won't go away. As much as he keeps showing up and bugging them, I bet you Jonathan can put a restraining order on him. He won't stop showing up at our house. Come on. A restraining order would work. And, of course, Lex is still... Beat plot is Lex is doing this therapy sessions with this therapist. And he also gets involved with Perry because Perry still has information on Lionel, which he gives to, which I think leads to the storyline with the Morgan Edge story situation, which we're coming up on. Because I'm trying to finish this disc before the end of the day because I want to go over the two that I watched, the first two episodes I ever watched. So we're getting there. Next episode, I don't think I remember being that bad. It's like a flashback type episode. It's interesting. It's confusing, but we'll get to it. I love how, like, by the time the episode hits its climax, Perry White's been, like, shunned by everything. Lana doesn't want him at the Talon. He's been kicked out of the Wild Coyote, which is a bar. Cabs won't take him. The only thing he can do together is a bus. And so he says, he bribes Lana. He says, you know what? You drive me to the bus. Don't stop. I'll leave you alone. And this ends up being a trick to get Clark to come to him. By this point, the solar flares have caused Clark's powers to go away. His heat vision flares out, kind of like in the episode Heat. And then when he tries to put it out, he gets burned. And so Jonathan distracts the paparazzi while Pete and Clark decide to go camping. But then they get a call from Lana and, they just keep saying, oh, you have to stay here. Well, then he lights the house on fire. I have to get out of here. Okay, we go camping and you just stay there until tomorrow and he'll be fine. Because they're saying that the solar flares will end after that. You think, like, at night, but you're saying, like, the next day, you think the solar flares will only last one as long as the sun is in the sky, right? At night, you don't think they would work, but I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, anything with Lionel is probably just conversation. Look, I didn't pay attention to this as much as the other ones because I really don't like this episode. But it sat better with me this time, especially the ending, okay? But first, we gotta get to the climax of this thing. So, Clark shows up and Perry tries to force his hand and they both fall over the cliff. He's like, it's time to use your powers. But remember, the solar flare, he doesn't have powers. So, Pete has to get a rope from that he conveniently has in the trunk of his car because they're going camping. So he has this big orange rope which he ties to his truck and then he throws it over and pulls them up. And the day after they're done, it's shown that Clark has not only rope burns but it's bleeding, and he's like, almost as if he now believes that he's human. But the things that he's seen, like they end off with this conversation while he's waiting for the bus, where he's talking, where the dad has some kind of respect. He goes, hey, you ever come to Metropolis? Maybe I can help you out, which is supposed to be setting that up. Although Perry White does return in a future episode, but he's not. I don't know about this disheveled reporter. I mean, we're made to believe that Clark puts him on the right track. But here's the thing. This is where the Superman lore are. We're already kind of messing with it, but this is where it really starts to go off rails because he didn't know Perry White before he went to the Daily Planet. In fact, he doesn't know Lois Lane. We'll get to that in season 4 with the Lois Lane stuff. Just nice to have her on the show, but I wish they didn't. I've always said that this show should only lasted 5 or 6 seasons. If we're talking about a young Superman, 10 seasons is way too long, especially, like I said, by the time we're season 8, with Superman without being Superman. He doesn't have a suit, he doesn't fly, he's not called Superman, but it's essentially Superman. By the time they're in season 8, he's working at Daily Planet, Lois Lane is there. There's no Perry White, which is really, but still, come on. But I like this conversation between the two. They have mutual respect, and he gets on the bus, and in the background, the song playing, it's a cover, not the original version, of We're Walking in Memphis. I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a bill. We're walking in Memphis. Do you really feel the way I feel? I love that song. I love the original version. I think it's Lone Star that sings this version. And it's good. But I like the original better. I heard wait a minute, I know this song. They have covers. It's not the last episode that would end with a country song on a back road. because in the episode Run, I think it is in season 4, where they introduce Impulse, they have Feels Like Today by Rascal Flatts playing it. So, but it's one of those things, oh, we're on the background, got a country song playing. Lone Star's country. This song is like soul music or something originally, or some kind of soul or blues, but really here it's like a country twang to it because of Lone Star. Lone Star. But, yeah. I'm going to give this 2.5 Superman logos out of 5. There's some good stuff in it. It's just not one I go back and rewatch. I can't. I always get mad at the way they portray Perry White, first of all, as a drunk, and as this paparazzi reporter, whereas he's known in Superman lore as one of the greatest, not only reporters, but the greatest news person, like highly respected, all this stuff, and to characterize this character like this, to have him be this drunk, belligerent, cocky fool who runs around half-cocked and not caring about other people's safety and throwing this news stuff in people's face and not caring what they say. It's just, I don't know. Everyone needs an origin, sure, but he didn't need, like, to have his backstory. He was respected, and then he poked the wrong bear, and now he's, sure, mess with Lionel Luthor, you get screwed, but come on. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? Leave me comments, let me like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.